There was a time where I thought strong chemistry meant I found something real. If it felt intense, if the conversation flowed easily, if there was attraction, if we clicked fast, I automatically thought this is it. This has to be something real. And that mindset will have you confusing a moment for something that actually has substance. I want to talk about the difference between a real connection and just chemistry, because a lot of people are out here feeling something strong, but still ending up confused, still ending up disappointed, still ending up wondering what went wrong. And it is not because something was wrong with you, it is because chemistry and connection are not the same thing. For me, I had to learn this through experience, through situations that felt really good in the beginning, through conversations that flowed effortlessly, through connections that seemed like they had potential. And then over time, something would shift, something would feel off, something would stop adding up. And I would sit there trying to figure out how something that felt so strong could fall apart so easily. And that is when I realized something. Just because something feels strong does not mean it is stable. And that is the difference. Chemistry is immediate, it is fast, it is intense, it feels exciting, it pulls you in quickly. But a real connection builds. It takes time. It shows itself through consistency. It shows itself through actions. It shows itself through how things feel over time. And I had to really sit with that because I realized I was getting attached to how something started, not paying attention to how it was continuing. And that is where a lot of confusion comes from. Because chemistry can feel like alignment, but it is not always alignment. Sometimes it is familiarity. Sometimes it is attraction. Sometimes it is emotional intensity. But none of that guarantees longevity. And I had to be honest with myself about how I was showing up in that. Because when something felt good, I would lean in fast. I would invest emotionally. I would start seeing potential without giving it time to reveal what it actually was. And that is something I had to change. So I started paying attention differently. I stopped focusing only on how something felt in the moment. And I started paying attention to patterns. How consistent is this person? How do they communicate? Do their actions match what they say? How do they show up when things are not perfect? Because that is where real connection shows itself. Not in the beginning, but in the continuation. Another thing I had to learn is that chemistry does not require effort. It just happens. You vibe, you laugh, you connect easily. But real connection requires intention. It requires showing up. It requires effort from both people. It requires honesty. And that is where a lot of things fall apart. Because people can enjoy chemistry, but not everyone is ready for the responsibility of a real connection, and that is a big difference. I have had situations where the chemistry was strong, where everything felt easy, where the energy was there, but when it came time to actually build something, to be consistent, to communicate clearly, to show up in a real way, that same energy was not there. And that is when you realize this was chemistry, not connection. Another thing that helped me understand the difference is how I felt over time. Chemistry can feel exciting, but it can also feel unstable. You feel high one moment and unsure the next. You feel close one day and distant the next. And that kind of inconsistency keeps you in a cycle because you keep chasing the good moments, but real connection feels steady. It feels clear. It feels consistent. You are not constantly trying to figure it out. You are not questioning where you stand. You feel secure in how things are unfolding. And that is a completely different experience. And I had to learn how to stop confusing intensity with depth because something can feel intense, but still be surface level. And something can feel calm, but actually be deep. And that shift in understanding changed how I approached dating completely. Because now I was not just looking for what felt good, I was looking for what felt real. And that meant slowing down. That meant not getting caught up too quickly. That meant allowing time to show me what something actually is, instead of deciding too early what I want it to be. And that takes discipline, because chemistry can pull you in fast. It can make you feel like this is something you do not want to miss. But if it is real, it is not going anywhere. And that is something I had to remind myself. Another truth I had to accept is this. Just because you have chemistry with someone does not mean you are compatible with them. And compatibility is what sustains a connection, not just attraction, not just conversation, but alignment in values, alignment in effort, alignment in how you both show up. And if that is missing, no amount of chemistry is going to make it work long term. So I had to stop holding on to potential. I had to stop trying to build something based on how it started and start looking at how it is actually showing up. And that brought me a different kind of clarity because now I was not confused. I was aware. And awareness saves you from wasting time. It saves you from investing in something that is not aligned. It saves you from getting caught up in something that is not built to last. And that matters. So if you have been feeling confused in your connections, if you have been wondering why things feel strong but do not last, if you have been questioning what is real and what is not, start paying attention to the difference. Pay attention to consistency. Pay attention to effort. Pay attention to how you feel over time, because real connection is not just about how it starts, it is about how it continues. And once you understand that, you move differently, you choose differently, you protect your energy differently, and that changes everything. And something else I had to really understand is how chemistry can make you ignore what is actually happening. Because when something feels good, you don't question it the same way. You give it more chances, you give it more time, you tell yourself maybe it just needs to develop. But what I realize is that real connection does not need to be constantly justified. You don't have to keep explaining it to yourself. You don't have to keep convincing yourself to stay. Another thing I noticed is how chemistry can make you overlook red flags in the beginning. You see something that feels off, but because everything else feels good, you minimize it. You tell yourself it is not that serious. You tell yourself you are just overthinking. But those small things are not random. They are indicators. They are showing you how this person actually moves. And when you ignore those early signs, you end up dealing with bigger versions of them later. I also had to learn that just because someone understands you does not mean they are aligned with you. You can have deep conversations, you can feel seen in certain moments, you can feel like they get you, but that does not mean they are going to show up consistently. That does not mean they are going to build with you. That does not mean they are ready for what you are ready for. And that was a hard lesson for me, because I used to think being understood meant something deeper, but understanding without consistency does not create a connection. Another layer to this is emotional availability, because someone can be present in the moment. They can show interest, they can engage, but when it comes to depth, when it comes to commitment, when it comes to real consistency, they pull back. And that creates confusion, because you are trying to understand how someone can show up one way, but not follow through in another. And the answer is simple. They were available for the moment, not for the connection. And once I understood that, I stopped taking it personally. I also had to stop mistaking comfort for compatibility, because just because something feels familiar does not mean it is right. Sometimes it feels familiar because it reflects something you have experienced before, even if that experience was not healthy. So now I ask myself a different question. Does this feel aligned, or does this just feel familiar? And that question alone has saved me a lot of time. Another thing I had to accept is that not every strong connection is meant to last. Some connections are there to show you something, to reveal something, to help you understand yourself better. And once that lesson is learned, the connection fades. And that does not make it fake. It just means it served its purpose. But if you try to hold on to it beyond that point, that is when it becomes draining. So now I let things be what they are. If it is real, it will continue. If it is not, it will show itself. And I do not rush that process anymore. The right connection does not need to be forced. It does not need to be chased. It does not need to be figured out constantly. It unfolds naturally. And that is the difference I had to learn. If you have ever felt like this, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your experience too. And if this resonated with you, go ahead and give this video a like. And subscribe to my channel if you want more real conversations like this. Over here, we talk about real things, things people feel but don't always say out loud. This is a space where you don't have to have everything figured out. I'm still learning and I'm still growing and figuring life out just like you. So if you want honest conversations and real perspective, you are welcome here. Until next time, be real with yourself. That's where everything starts. And wherever you are right now, it's okay. Just don't stay there.